If you're a local service business owner that's frustrated with wasting time and effort on marketing that isn't working, and by working, I mean it's making you money and getting you leads, well, this video is for you. This is going to be the complete step-by-step marketing strategy that your local service business needs for 2026 to make sure that your business grows, you stand out online, and you truly dominate your market and become the market leader. Grab a cup of coffee, get your notepad out, because we are going to give you everything that you need to stand out online. Welcome to Marketing Domination. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is lay the groundwork for what we want to do. We are trying to build a marketing system and strategy for local service business owners so you can stand out online and dominate. So I want you to understand the high level overview of what it takes to truly grow your business and stand out online. So the first thing is the strategy that we are doing and how we build a marketing domination framework for clients at our agency, Garner Consulting. It is this framework here. We want to build a sales funnel. Then we're going to fill a sales funnel. Then we are going to optimize your sales funnel. Your whole marketing strategy revolves around this concept of a sales funnel. You may have heard that term before, but most likely when I explain that to people or I say that to people, they think they know what it is, but they don't. Whenever we say build a sales funnel, what we are doing is we are talking about an overall relationship journey with your potential customers. This is not a style of landing page or a software that we're using to make this happen. It is a complete process from getting customers to not knowing who you are to getting them to becoming super fan customers for life. So it is a process. It's not a landing page. It's not a style of website or a software tool. It is a relationship building process. We need to have that thing built before we go into phase 2 of our marketing domination strategy, which is then fill the sales funnel. Because one of the most common mistakes I see local service business owners make when it comes to their marketing is it's not that they're necessarily doing the wrong things. They're doing the right things, but they're doing them in the wrong order. So they're trying to fill their sales funnel, which is an incomplete sales funnel. So they don't have certain things set up and established in a solid foundation for their marketing. So they're wasting all this time, effort, and money on things like paid ads, creating social content, networking events, and things are just slipping through the cracks because they haven't built that solid foundation. So after we've built it, then we fill it with different content and marketing strategies. Then after we've done that, we go into the third phase of marketing domination, which is optimizing. With marketing, especially in today's world, there are so many data and analytic tools that are available to you. So we always tell our clients, we don't make our marketing decisions or business decisions on personal preference or emotion. We make them with data. And there's so many different data tools that are out there that we want to be using those to help us optimize our marketing sales funnel. So I want to have a high level overview of what we are going to do in order to make sure that your business grows and stands out online in 2026 with your marketing plan. And when you understand the strategy that we're going to implement, as we start going step by step through each one of these items, always keep that in the back of your mind. What I don't want to see or have you experience as you're going through this, like, oh, no, I already have a website, or, oh, I mean, we already have done this, or, oh, we've already tried PPC ads and stuff. Take a breath. It's not that these things don't work. These things work. Having a great website works. Doing SEO works. Doing PPC works. But it only works if it's executed properly and all of these other things are in place. So even if we go over these things, if you think that you've got some of them in place, check yourself, because it's not that these things don't work. You might not be executing them on the level that they need to be done, or maybe the agency that you're working with isn't, or again, there's missing elements. I like to explain this entire process very similar to fitness. Whenever you are working out, you are doing supplementation, you are covering well, you're hydrating well, you're doing mobility work, right? That is your overall fitness plan. If you just do one of those things, yeah, you might do a little bit better than you were doing before, but to truly reach the levels of health and fitness that you're trying to reach, you need to have all of those things in place. The same thing goes with your marketing. You need to have all of these foundational elements in place in order to make sure that your business grows, because if not, and you're going to be spinning your wheels wondering why it's not working. And it's because you got these little tiny pinholes or things that aren't really shored up properly in your marketing. And that's why it's not working. So as we go through this, man, take a reality check. Really look at this stuff and ask yourself, am I doing this? And am I executing it at the highest level possible compared to your competition? Because that's exactly what your potential customers are doing. They're looking at your stuff. They're looking at your competitor stuff, and they are making decisions based upon the information that's provided to them. That is the big key with a lot of this digital stuff, is it's not what's going on in your head or what goes on at your business, but it's what you allow your potential customers to see whenever it comes to your brand online. So that's it. That's the foundation. Let's get into this, the complete marketing strategy that you need for 2026 to build, fill, and optimize your sales funnel. So first thing we need to understand is foundations. Quick version on this. Your business, your company, you guys need a vision, mission statement, and core values. If you are just a solopreneur, it's just a single operation right now starting off, I will tell you this, from coming from that to growing to a large team with our businesses that we own, you need to have these things in place, because if not, as you start growing your business and start doing your marketing, sometimes things just don't feel right and sit right. And most likely it's because you haven't established this stuff. It's very important, because especially if you're working with, other agencies or vendors, or you're bringing on team members to help with this stuff, if you don't have a clear vision of where you're going, it's going to be really difficult to know if you've actually got there. And then also, it's going to be really difficult to hold people accountable to know which direction that we're going. Because if you're bringing people in your team, agencies, vendors, team members and everything, they want to help you out. They want to see you succeed. But if we don't have a vision and a mission of where we're going, and then if you personally don't have the core values of what you've set up to what you believe is what you want to build, this is your business. I always tell people like this, you're not creating a job, hopefully. You're building a business. So build it your way and take the time to get this foundational stuff done of knowing what the vision is of the company. What's the mission? What are we currently working on? And what are the core values, the characteristics, or the type of people we need to become in order to make those things happen? I will tell you guys, this is always those things that like you hear everybody always talk about, like whenever you buy like an online course or something, oh, you got to know this stuff. And I would always skip this part of it. As the business grows, you realize how important this foundational stuff really is in order to truly be successful. So we've done previous podcast episodes on the past on this stuff. Definitely make sure that you have the foundation in place before you start doing this stuff, or you're going to be spinning your wheels again, not being able to create the rest of this stuff. So next thing we've got is step one. Is that would be step zero, because you need to have that stuff. That's just good business stuff. This is when step one, when it comes to your marketing. Step one for the marketing is we need to build a sales funnel. Like I said, the sales funnel is that complete relationship journey process. It's not a landing page. It is not a software. So the foundation of your sales funnel before you start creating it is you need to build your brand. So what is a brand? For us, whenever we're talking about building your brand, we're talking about the visual aspect and the messaging. So the visual aspect of your brand, you need logos, you need your colors, you need your fonts, you need your visual brand sheet of what it is you want it to visually look like for what you're creating. Whenever we go to build websites for either new businesses or they have a redesign, and they don't have this stuff figured out or in place and know what they want, oftentimes, again, they just like, it doesn't look like me, or it doesn't really feel like me. That's because most likely if you don't have this stuff in place, designers, agencies, graphic designers that you're working with, they're just having us make it up, or they're using stock images and stuff like that. Lock down the visual aspect of your brand and how you want it to visually come across. This is one of the sections to where there is more personal preference in this kind of stuff, because it is your brand. How do you want it to look? We've worked with a plumbing company, Half Moon Plumbing, and their colors are lime green and purple. Typically if you think of home services, you think of like red, white, blue, American flag type stuff. They completely went the other way because visually they wanted to stand out, and it works great for them. Other companies, that might not make sense for their personality and everything. So you need to lock down the visual aspect, your logos, colors, and fonts to lock down the brand. The next part of your brand, my opinion, the most important part, and that's the messaging. That is the words that we are using in our marketing. So I am a certified story brand guide and coach. So as that being the case, I love the story brand messaging framework. And what that is it is 7 key talking points to help you craft your brand message. So whenever we're talking to clients about this, if you watch the podcast, I've done tons of episodes of like what the story brand framework is, mistakes people make on it. So go back and check those out. But high level overview of the story brand framework is it's 7 key talking points that you create, so you can use that as the filter to run all of your brand messaging through. And it uses the arc of a story to create those. So it's a character, which is your customers. Well, what do they want? All of your customers want something. So we need to have the talking points down of what our customers want. The second is the character has a problem. And so we need to know what the problem is that our customers are dealing with. That problem, we want to drill down at 3 different levels: the external, which is the main thing they're dealing with; the internal, which is how that problem is making them feel; and the philosophical, which is why that problem is just morally wrong that they're dealing with it. The third thing that we want to create in these talking points is then character has a problem, but hey, they meet a guide. That's you. So we want to showcase ourselves as the guide in our customer story, not the hero. And we do this with empathy and authority. So empathy, we want to have statements in our messaging like, hey, we understand what it's like to deal with XYZ. Just like you, we're frustrated by dealing with XYZ. We want to show that we're relatable. The other part of that guide section is we really want to show that we have authority. We know what we're talking about. We got awards, facts, stats, case studies, testimonials of specific results of customers we fixed this problem for, just like them. So character has a problem, meets a guide, but then guess what? The guide gives them a plan. This is where we want to have a very simple 3-step plan in our marketing messaging of what our potential customers need to do business with it. So then we can step 5 of these messaging talking points, call them to action. What's the direct thing that we want them to do? Schedule a call, book an appointment, and request their service. We don't want it to be vague, like discover how we help, learn more, contact us. Very clear and direct of what the action people need to take to work with you. The other part of your call to action is we typically have a transitional call to action, which we'll talk about later, which is a lead generator for the people that aren't ready to buy. So then the last 2 aspects of our brand messaging that we're creating is our failure section. What is all the things that our customers are going to continue to deal with if they don't do business with us? And then success. What are all the amazing happily ever after things that our customers are going to get after they do business with us? After we've created that, we now have a foundation of our brand to build the rest of our marketing on. If you're like, well, that already, whoa. I know I talk fast, but I had a lot of coffee already. If you're like, that already sounds like a ton to do. That's why at our agency, Garner Consulting, we do this for all of our clients. So that becomes the foundation for any project that we take on, because we can't build you an amazing website, search engine optimization campaign, or a sales funnel build out or fractional CMO. We can't do any of that stuff until we've locked down your brand. So we want to make sure everything has a certain visual look to it. Logos, colors, and fonts are locked in. More importantly, we want to make sure that we have all of those talking points for the messaging that we're creating. So as we're writing words, everything passes through that filter. Just like you give that visual brand guidelines to your graphic designer to build the visual aspect of everything that you're creating, you do the exact same thing with a copywriter and the rest of your sales associates and other team members to make sure that the words sound like the words that are on the brand script. So first thing that we do is we lock down and build out the brand. After we have that, we go into the next part of our sales funnel, which is we want to build a website. As we're building our website, the only purpose of this website is 2 things: make you money and collect leads. Too often I see business owners wasting time, effort, and money on building websites and having websites that are just like digital look at me billboards. Like, that's not the point of these. The point is to have a place to where people are coming in, they're understanding what problem it is that you solve, how you're going to make their life better. And you make it very, very simple for them to either give you money, sign up, book their consultation, or for you to collect a lead because you have some type of a lead generator, an opt-in form on your website. You guys know we have done tons of trainings and podcast episodes and stuff on this topic of what you need on your website, but I wanted to still go through and I wanted to show you a website wireframe of how I think about structuring these out. Now, we have this complete guide on our website you can download for free. It is the Click the Client website template. These are the 10 sections that you need to have on your homepage, because this is the most important part of your website is your homepage. When people land on it, this is how we want this thing to be structured out. And I'm going to show you some real life examples of not only how your homepage should be structured, but how you need to be structuring out your entire website. Because remember, we're building a sales funnel. It's the complete process. It's not a landing page or a software. So the first thing that we need to understand is on our header section, we want to answer these 3 questions in less than 5 seconds or people are going to bounce. What do you do? How do you make my life better? What do I need to do to get it? Now, visually, how we lay that out is typically we have a headline and a subheadline. We have an image or a video of happy customers or people that are experiencing your service. We typically have the logo in the top left, and we have our main direct call to action in the top right. And then again, in the center of the page or underneath the text. When we're doing this, this is the most important part of your website. If your website does not check all of these boxes right here, you are losing money. Now, visually, this can look like a lot of different ways, right? So right here, this looks pretty similar to that, right? We've got the main thing that we do. We've got our sub headline, we got an image, and then we've got our main calls to action right here. Now we can also make it look visually different. So this right here is for a medical spa. So it's how do you make my life better? Or discover your natural beauty. What do you do? Wasso Medical Spa with personalized skincare solutions for youthful, rejuvenated skin. What do we need to do to get it? Man, we got to book an appointment. So you can see visually a lot of these websites. This one looks a little bit more like the standard wireframe we showed out. This is, again, a plumbing company here in Owasso, Oklahoma. So it's got different designs. This one's, it's been flip-flop, different designs. So it can visually look different, but it checks all of those boxes. The next thing that we want to have on our homepage is we want to showcase the value. And when we say this is not the things that are inside. We want to have a section on our website that talks about the benefits our customers will experience once they do business with you. As you're going through each one of these sections of the website, I want you to think of them as Lego blocks. So we want to make sure that we have all of these on here, but the order that these are in, this is kind of our recommended order. The most important thing is that this header section stays at the first, and then the footer section is at the bottom. The rest of these sections, mix and match however you want. You just want to make sure that you have these things in place. And again, like I said earlier, it's not that these things don't work or work, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I have a website. This is the part where if you have a website, is it checking these boxes and do you have these things in place? That's why I want you to go to the website, SeanGarner.co, download the website wireframe template, the click to client website template. And this will give you all these things. I want you to self-assess your current website. Okay, so the next section that we have is the stakes section. Do you have a section on your website that showcases the problem that your customers are dealing with? This is where we want to show that empathy, but we also want to show the problem. Man, are you struggling with tooth pain or missing teeth? You know, where we got some right here. Are you tired of feeling self-conscious about your skin? Need a new roof and don't know where to start? Broken garage door can throw off your whole day. This may seem like a little thing, but these little things stacked up and compounded is what makes the difference. This is giving your customer something to check off of, like, oh man, they understand me and my specific problem. The next section of our website that we want is our value proposition. This is typically where we start to list the services and what we actually do. On this part of your website, you want to make sure that you understand the difference between features and benefits. Features are the things that you actually do. Benefits is how it helps the customer. So whenever we're listing out our services that we offer, we want to have the specific deliverables that we're doing, but also why it helps them and how it helps them. If you're a roofer, the feature might be a, free 360 roof inspection. But the benefit tied to that is what we want to lead with. It's like, know that the job is going to be done right, or know exactly what's wrong with your roof with our feature 360 home roof inspection assessment, or whatever it is, right? So we want to tie those two things together, lead with the benefit, and then list the feature. Most small business owners have a website, but it doesn't actually work. And if your site isn't bringing you in leads or making you money, it's just an online brochure. That's why I created the Click to Client website wireframe template. It's the exact framework we use with clients to design homepages that grab attention, guide visitors, and turn them into paying customers. You'll see the 10 must-have sections every homepage needs laid out step by step so you can finally have a site that works. Download it free today at SeanGarner.co/website wireframe. Now, back to the show. The next section that we want to have on our website is what we call the guide section. Like we said earlier with our brand messaging talking points, this right here, we want to have some place on our website, and it doesn't have to be one section like this. It can be broken up into several things, but we want something on our website that makes us relatable so people know that we know what it's like for them to deal with this problem. And then we want lots of authority. So this is typically where we are doing things like we're embedding our Google reviews inside of here. Like here, I'll show you some visual examples. So we're going to do something like this: the highest rated, most reviewed garage door company in Richmond, Indiana. And we're putting all their Google reviews on side of here, some different trust symbols of different things that they have. Maybe it's awards, local chamber links, and everything else like that. This also is where we're going to be adding our customer testimonials. So the specific results that customers or patients have gotten after working with us. Remember, we don't want things like Dave was really nice. We want it to be something very specific of like Apex Roofing came out and got my roof fixed, 2 weeks faster than anyone else. Something very specific of the result that they've gotten. The next section on our website, this part is somewhat optional, but again, the more of these you have in your marketing, the greater chance of success that you have. This is your packaging and pricing. So if you have for service-based businesses, if you guys have different packages and pricing that you have, this is where you could list that on your website. Not every business wants to list their prices, but this is where you could show packages if you have those. So especially things like our wellness clinics, our medical spas, you have different packages that you guys sell. You don't have to list the prices, but at least go ahead and start showing those things grouped up. This is where you can showcase those, or even special promotions and everything that you're having as well. This next section, what I think is one of the most important ones. The most important is the header section. This to me is the second most important section, and it's your plan section. This is where we want to give our very simple 3-step plan of what our customers need to do business with you. This right here, book an appointment, choose your service, regain your self-confidence for this medical spa right here. It sounds super simple. Here's for a dental office, book an appointment, get a personalized treatment plan, enjoy a healthy, confident smile. It sounds so simple, but very few people do this. We want it to be so simple to where our customers go, oh, that sounds easy. I could do that. Or, wow, that seems really easy for them to work with them. That's how we want this to be. We want a very simple 3-step process of what our customers need to do in order to get their problem solved. If you fix your header and you had a clear direct call to action repeated through your page, and you add this plan section, that alone is going to get your business to start getting more leads coming in. But if you put all of these things together and then you add all of it to the complete sales funnel process, then you're really going to make sure your marketing is supercharged. The next section is your explanatory paragraph. So we even have like a little Mad Lib thing here that we've added on this template, but this is where you typically would add what some people may say is your SEO. This is where you really start just taking all of these different elements, putting them into a text form. So you have a bigger block of text. I don't personally like a huge block of text on websites. So typically we'll have like a little read more accordion to where you can click that and it expands the text out, because we want all of these websites to be really quick to easily skim, scan, and just see everything that's going on. People aren't going to read every word on your website. Sorry. It's important because we need to use for SEO and some stuff we'll talk about later, but people are not going to read every word on your website, but we still want to have a place to where we can put those. The next section of the thing that we need on your website is something that's called a lead magnet or lead generator. This is the transitional call to action that we talked about earlier in our marketing that we need to have. We want to have something of an exchange of value that positions us as a guide, gives our potential customers a quick win or the first step of the process, and it has a clear and catchy title. Something like that on your website. For some businesses, we've even seen like just discount codes, something like that, so we can grab their information to where they weren't quite ready, but we can still follow up with them, because after they fill in their information here, the secret is in the follow-up that comes after that. Then the next section that we're going to have is our junk drawer. Everything else that you think you need to have on your website, your careers page, your about us, all of those things, we want to keep those linked down here at the footer, because we want to keep our header section as clean as possible. I don't like a ton of links up there, because remember, the whole reason we're getting somebody to come to this website is to get money and get leads. So we want to have the things that we want at the top are things that do those things. We don't want to have a ton of extra links up there to confuse the customers. However, we do want to make sure that we have thought about our website structure. So the next thing I want to show you guys now is, so this is how that right there is how your homepage should be wireframed out. The next thing that I want to show you is how you should wireframe out a really good homepage and how this should be structured out as far as thinking about your website. So on the pages you build on your website, it is very important. We want to have that homepage and we want to wireframe it out just like we talked about. One page that we do want is an about page. One of the reasons why is whenever we start talking about LLM visibility and being able to find information about your brand, that's where we want to put that information. So on our homepage, we really don't want to talk about us. We might have one little section or a one-liner that talks about we understand what it's like to deal with that empathetic statement. But our about page is where you want to put everything about you. Your customers don't care about you. Why we do create those about pages, though, is because with building a brand and creating brand mentions, these AI overviews do care about that information. So we want to make sure that we have a good about page set up. The other thing that we want is a service page and what we would call sub-service pages. So as we're thinking about building out our sitemap, what we want to do is we want to have our homepage, our about page. Then we want to have an individual page for a main page that showcases all the services that we have. Then we want to have a sub-service page for each individual specific service that we offer. Reason being is this is when we start doing SEO or search engine optimization, or what I call now search everywhere optimization with these AI tools and LLMs like ChatGPT and stuff. We want to make sure wherever our potential customers are looking for our stuff, we show up. So by having these specific sub-service pages, it gives us things that we can create content around and do internal links or interlinking between our other content pages to showcase Google and these AI tools like ChatGPT that our business should be recommended for these things. That gets down later into the fill the sales funnel with SEO. But the main thing to understand is what it actually takes in order to build out these different pages. Now, another thing is like, let's say you have a service area like this plumbing company, Half Moon Plumbing. Not only do we have all of their different services and subservice pages that we've made, but then we also do the exact same thing with locations. So if there's certain areas and pages and suburbs that we want to target, we will create landing pages over those specific ones. And then if you really want to take this to another level, whenever we're building out our site structure, we will then have our service pages for each individual one of those subservice pages. So to explain what that means is this right here, this plumbing company, Half Moon Plumbing, they've got their main page. Then on their main page, on their header, they list all of their services, all of their locations that they serve. Then underneath each one of these locations that they serve, what we will do is on that page, we will then create subservices specifically for this. So this is going to be Broken Arrow, since this is the location right here, this is going to be a Broken Arrow faucet repair and installation page, a Broken Arrow gas line repair page. By creating all of those individual services, locations, and then location service pages, it gives us a ton of content and authority as building out our sitemap so we can show Google that our page is very knowledgeable about the topic. So backing up, that's what we want on our website. I know that that sounds like a lot, but that's what we want to have, a really good website. So whenever you're just checking the box of like, oh, I have a website, do you? Do you really have a website that is going to check all of those boxes, that's saying all the right words, it's wireframed out and structured, and all those pages are set up? Because most businesses don't, and that's why it's not working. So the next part of our sales funnel that we need is our lead generator. So on our lead generator, I talked about that on the website and showing you guys this. Your business needs a lead generator. If you're not getting leads for your business, you have a lead generator. Because guess what? Very few people are just going to show up to your website and be like, hey, tell me a little bit about your business. Like, no, they're looking for somebody to solve a problem. And if your business doesn't quickly answer all those questions for them and they don't have the trust and authority to go ahead and book a call, request your service, we need to have something that gets their information so we can follow up with them. So we want to create a lead generator. This also gives us another reason to promote our website, because if not on social media, if it's just come buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, nobody's going to want to always do this. But if we have something in exchange of value, like for us, our website wireframe that we talk about, well, guess what? Now it's not just come to our website. It's, well, come get this free thing that we're giving out, which is a ton of value. Those lead generators you create should do three things. Number one is it should have a clear and catchy title. We don't want to clickbait people, but we want to have a clear and catchy title so people know what it is and the value that's inside. The second thing that it should do is it should position you as a guide. It should make people say, oh, wow, this company really knows what they're talking about when it comes to this product, their service, or this topic. The third thing that it should do is it should give your customers or potential customers a quick win or the first step in the process. So for example, we're a marketing agency. We believe, especially after you're listening to this podcast episode, people need to wireframe their website out in a certain way. So we are going to give them the template of what they can do and what it should look like. So guess what? It's got a clear and catchy title. It's going to position us as a guide because it's going to show that we know what we're talking about with website design, and it's going to give you the next step in the process. However, not everybody's going to want to take that and build their own website because they want it to look good. So then that's whenever they come and they hire us to execute all of these strategies for them. So that's what we want on our website. We want something in our marketing so we can capture those leads when they do come to our website and they're not quite ready to buy. But that's not the secret. The real secret is what happens after somebody does opt in or download that guide. That's whenever we want to create a sales sequence email. This is typically a series of 5 to 6 emails that we want to plug people into, or touch points. So that way, after they've downloaded it, this is like our net at the bottom. People have come into our world. We want to have this little net here that captures all this information and follows up with them, automatically done for us. Now with this, I love automations. We leverage even tons of AI tools and stuff in our website and in our agency. Don't rely on this solely to do all the selling for you. I always tell clients as we're building this out for them, creating these automations, these follow-up sequences should be the bottom of the net, like just to make sure nobody slips through the cracks. But if you truly want to succeed online and you want to stand out and you want to capture more leads and businesses, what you should be doing is when people are opting in, you are reaching out, you are calling them, you are sending personalized messages and stuff. Because guess what? Very few businesses actually do that. They over rely now on automating all of this stuff. And if you are looking to grow your business, guess what? Sometimes you have to do the things that aren't scalable, and it is being human. We have so much AI stuff that's going on right now. People are used to calling and listening to press one for da-da. No, be a human. Call the person. They reached out as a potential lead. And the sooner you call them, the quicker they are going to convert. If somebody goes to your website and you see them download a lead generator on your website and you call them within 60 seconds, you have a very high likelihood of getting them to actually go ahead and book a call because you know they're on their website. They're looking for the problem. You're on top of mind. And if they have been reaching out to multiple websites and businesses and you're the one that calls them back, you are the one that's going to get the sell. So after we've done that, we build our lead generator. We've got this sales sequence that they're plugged into. The next thing that we want to do is just have what we call our nurture sequence. So we want to stay on top of mind with sending out weekly emails. Guess what? Email marketing works. And if it doesn't work like you think it does, it still works. So trust me, what doesn't work is sending out bad emails or spammy emails. So whenever we're doing email marketing or SMS marketing, we want to send out helpful tips that position us as a guide for our customer, not constantly buying things, or asking them to buy things from us. So if your email marketing isn't working, again, step back, self-assess. Is every email that I'm sending out asking them to buy my stuff? Or are they emails that are actually helpful that people want to open up? You want to earn the right to ask for the sale. The sales email sequence after they opt in, man, let's hit them hard. We got a certain specific things that we want to do with like showing case studies, testimonials, the problems we solve, positioning our products and services, having a really good sales email. But then after that, if that didn't work and they go into just our weekly nurture sequence, man, that's where we just want to position ourselves as the authoritative expert on the topic by giving away tons of value. So whenever they are ready to buy, they think of us. Or after we've given out so much value, typically if every email that you send is packed full of value or content that you're creating, that's whenever every 6 weeks or so, you can send a really good, strong call to action sales email looking for people to kind of identify and raise their hand to come in to your world. After we've done that and we've got that process in place, the next thing that we want to do is we want to create what we call our digital storefront. So the rest of all of our touch places where customers can see us. This is things like your Google My Business profile. So we want to make sure that that is fully set up and optimized, especially if you are a local business. We did a whole podcast episode on that a couple of weeks back, talking about how to get your local citations and directories, things like Yelp, Apple Maps, industry specific profiles built out and set up. The other part of your digital storefront is your social media profiles. Get all those profiles, lock them up. Even if you're not going to be active on all those platforms, at least lock up the username, fill out the profile, put up a profile picture of your company's logo, fill out the bio, and then have a link to your website. Because if people are looking for businesses like yours or your business name and those profiles pop up, we at least want it to be very simple and clear of what you do, how you make their life better, and how they need to engage with you. So if you're not on that platform, man, do they need to call you? Do they need to go to the website and book an appointment? Let's lock those profiles up, because you might not want to do it now, but you may want to do it in the future, or hopefully, especially once we get into the fill section of the sales funnel, we automate some of this stuff up. So even if you're only posting one platform, we repurpose that content to other platforms that we're working. After we've got this stuff set up, the last part of our sales funnel is a CRM. Man, if we're collecting all of this customer data and people are filling out forms on our website, requesting appointments, we don't just want these to have an auto form that just sends to our website, our email inbox, and we're just keeping everything stored in there. We want to make sure that all of this customer data is being stored in one source. So sales team members can be inside of there adding notes, and we can keep all of this customer data so we can stay on top of our customers and don't lose those leads. I see so many businesses where what they do is somebody fills out a contact form or on their website, and it just sends a note to their email inbox, and they don't keep that customer's name and email information anywhere. Or maybe it gets added to a spreadsheet at one time, but people have lost it and they're not actually keeping notes in there and following up. And your customers' data is the most important thing that you have. That is something that you should take very seriously. It's more important. Your email list, your customer list is worth more than any social media following, because you can talk to them whenever you want. So make sure that we're taking all this information to plug into a good CRM tool. And again, I'm somewhat tool agnostic. The one that I think is best is the one that you're actually going to use, but you do need to have a place to store all this information. So quick recap. on what a sales funnel is. And the first phase of this marketing domination framework is you need to build a sales funnel. A sales funnel starts with your brand. It's the visual aspect. It is how things look. It is how things sound with the words that you use. We love using the story brand framework to create those talking points for our brand. The second thing is we need a website. That website should be wireframed out to collect leads and make you money. Got the whole website wireframe template you guys can check out on our website, SeanGarner.co, of how that homepage should be structured. Then with that website, we also want to make sure that we've got our sitemap is solid, all the individual pages that we need to create. We want to have that homepage. We want to have an about page. We want to have a service page. Then we want to have sub-service pages for each individual service that we provide, as well as location pages for all the different areas that we want to target. This is going to come very key into phase 2 when it comes to fill the sales funnel. The third thing that we want to do is we want to have a lead generator, something of an exchange of value for our potential customers. They can raise their hand. Remember, it's got a clear and catchy title. It positions us as a guide for them, and it gives them a quick win or the first step in the process. After we have that, we want to plug them into a sales sequence, 5 to 6 emails to remind them of the problem we solved, show them case studies, and have a good, strong call to action sales email. After that, we want to make sure that they're rolled into our weekly nurture sequence. These are emails that just, again, give tons of value, helpful tips, and again, position us as the guide without being overly salesy, because we want to earn the right to ask for the sale again. Then what we want to do is we want to make sure that our complete digital storefront is built out. Our Google My Business profile is set up. Our local citations and directories, Yelp, Apple Maps, all of those things are created. And then we got all of our social media profiles built out. They look clean, consistent, professional, with that profile image set as our business logo, or if it's a personal brand, it's your headshot. And then we've got the about section filled out, got all the contact information so they can call us, email the right place, or go to our website from those social profiles. And then we are taking all of that information and we are plugging it into a good CRM tool that our team is using to stay on top of our potential customers so we can convert them into clients for life. That is how you build a sales funnel. And that is the first step of the marketing domination framework. On the next episode, what we're going to be doing is, now once we've built that, well, how do we get people to come into and fill the sales funnel? Because just because you build all of this stuff doesn't mean your business is going to start growing. It now means you have a solid system to start filling your pipeline full of leads, but just building it doesn't mean that you're going to get leads coming into it. So in the next episode, we're going to show you exactly how to fill your sales funnel for 2026 to make sure your complete marketing strategy helps you stand out online, grow your business, and dominate your market. So I'll see you on the next episode.